That bottle of wine you picked up from Tesco last week might not be what you think it is. Many of the UK's best-selling wines aren't just fermented grapes. They're industrial products, loaded with additives, artificial flavorings, and processing tricks that would shock most casual drinkers. Today, we're exposing 7 popular wine brands that are far more processed than their sun-drenched vineyard labels suggest. We'll reveal what's really in each glass you drink, from mega purple dye to oak flavor essence. And I'll suggest some cleaner alternatives from British producers. Starting at number 7, Blossom Hill. This California rosé is a British supermarket product, but here's what they don't tell you. Bottles sold in Europe aren't even bottled in California. The wine arrives in bulk tankers and gets bottled in the EU to cut costs. The popular Blossom Hill Classics Rosé contains about 34 grams of sugar per litre. That's roughly a teaspoon of sugar per glass. For comparison, a dry rosé might have under 5 grams per litre. This sweetness doesn't happen by accident. Blossom Hill even ran into labeling trouble with Italian regulators who impounded shipments over the term White Zinfandel. The episode revealed their bulk blending approach, shipping huge volumes in tankers for bottling, sometimes even sourcing from Italian grapes instead of Californian ones to keep prices low. Consumer groups have flagged Blossom Hill as potentially containing mega purple dye and pesticide traces. While there's no major public scandal, it operates in the same sphere as other cheap Californian wines that faced arsenic lawsuits in the mid-2000s. At number 6, Echo Falls. This brand has blurred the line between wine and alcopop with their Fruit Fusions range, essentially wine-based cocktails in a wine bottle. These aren't grapes with a hint of fruit from the vineyard, they're literally wine mixed with fruit flavorings like summer berries, peach and mango and raspberry. Lab analysis shows Echo Falls Fruit Fusion bottles contain 50 to 70 grams of sugar per litre. That's comparable to Coca-Cola. A small glass of Summer Berries Fusion packs about 8.6 grams of sugar, more than 2 teaspoons. The sugar isn't leftover grape sugar, it's added to deliver that dessert-like profile. Echo Falls trades alcohol calories for sugar calories. So while their 5.5% versions are lower in alcohol, they're definitely not healthier. These bottles are categorized as mixed alcohol beverages, a hint that they contain more than fermented grape juice. From lab-grown yeasts that pump out specific aromas to micro-oxygenation techniques, Echo Falls is finely tuned in the lab to hit its target profile. Number 5 proves processed wine isn't just a New World problem. JP Chenet from France. You know it by the curved neck bottle. What you might not know is that this French wine sources grapes from about 7,000 different growers across southern France. That's wine as an engineered commodity, enormous blending tanks smoothing out variation to hit a target taste and price point. French wine laws allow certain manipulations, and JP Chenet uses them. Chaptalization, adding beet sugar to grape must before fermentation, is common when grapes aren't sweet enough naturally. They also use grape concentrate, oak chips instead of barrel aging, tartaric acid powder, commercial yeast, and maximum allowed sulfites. JP Chenet has even released fashion sparkling wines with flavors like peach, strawberry raspberry, and lychee. A French wine brand selling lychee-flavored bubbly tells you everything about their philosophy. Give the market whatever sells, even if it means spiking wine with fruit essence. One health investigation listed JP Chenet among brands likely to contain mega purple dye and pesticide residues. While they'd say they follow all EU laws, the list of allowed additives is long. At number 4, we have Jacob's Creek, one of Australia's most famous exports. The label often says, wine of southeastern Australia. That's not a single region, but a geographical indication covering 95% of Australian vineyards across multiple states. Grapes from all over get blended to create a consistent flavor, the opposite of estate wine from one place. Jacob's Creek's producers use modern additives liberally. Added tartaric acid sharpens wines when warm-year grapes lack acidity. Oak influence comes from oak chips or staves dunked in stainless steel tanks, not expensive barrel aging. Critics note an artificial oak taste in similar brands. Independent tests found Jacob's Creek Classic Rosé had about 8 grams per litre of sugar, notably higher than a bone-dry Provence Rosé. Their reds often have 5 to 10 grams per litre of residual sugar, plus added gum arabic to round out mouthfeel and make cheap reds feel juicier. The brand hasn't had public scandals, but if you visited their giant winery, you'd see spinning cone machines to adjust alcohol levels, micro-oxygenation rigs to quickly soften tannins, and massive industrial equipment. It's far from grapes crushed by foot. Jacob's Creek is everywhere. Major supermarkets for £6 to £8, pubs by the glass, restaurants as house wine. That consistency you taste? It's processing for uniformity, with each varietal made to a flavour template year after year. Number 3. Hardy's, the UK's #1 selling wine brand for years. Owned by Accolade Wines, same parent as Echo Falls, Hardy's sells over 12 million bottles yearly in the UK alone. To feed that demand, they use mechanical harvesting, high-yield vineyards, irrigation and fertilizers. Lab analysis of Hardy's VR Shiraz found 7 grams per litre of residual sugar, with 22 grams per litre of total carbohydrate. That extra 15 grams of non-sugar carbs? Likely gum arabic or grape. Winemakers admit they use temperature-controlled fermenters, specific yeast strains, and rapid production techniques. They've even released low-carb wines using spinning cone technology to remove alcohol, then adding back flavor. Further proof that wine is a product and additives are fair game. At number 2, Yellowtail. The brand with the bright kangaroo label. Yellowtail has been called one of the most additive-heavy cheap wines on the market. Industry insiders note their likely use of Mega Purple, a grape concentrate that's 68% sugar and very dark. Just a few drops make weak wine look rich red and taste sweeter. Yellowtail proudly doesn't use oak barrels. Instead, they achieve chocolatey vanilla notes through oak alternatives and possibly added flavor compounds, liquid oak extract to impart flavor. The smoothness comes from glycerol or gum arabic for a rounder mouthfeel, plus micro-oxygenation to quickly soften tannins. They're mimicking years of barrel aging in weeks using technology. Yellowtail's grapes are grown with chemical fertilizers and pesticides, nothing organic here. Trace glyphosate has been a concern industry-wide, and given their scale and non-organic practices, residues could be present. Many drinkers report that Yellowtail gives worse hangovers and headaches than other wines. High sugar plus high sulfites plus possible histamine from big tank ferments equals feeling lousy. You can buy Yellowtail at nearly every supermarket, often on promotion. The brand has extended to Pinot Grigio, sparkling wines, even canned spritz versions, all consistently manufactured to taste identical. And at number 1, Barefoot Cellars, currently the world's best-selling wine brand by volume. Barefoot sells over 20 million cases globally and embodies nearly every mass production trick in the book. It's often held up as the example of manipulated wine. Barefoot is loaded with additives, high sulfite levels, added sugar and possibly color agents. They use Mega Purple concentrate in reds to deepen color and add sweetness. Barefoot Pink. Moscato contains a whopping 66 grams per litre of sugar. Even their dry wines have noticeable sweetness. Mass-produced whites carry levels at or near the legal maximum of 350 parts per million for shelf stability. Barefoot has been called out for very high sulfite content, which consumers link to worse hangovers. So, is there a better way? Absolutely. More British winemakers are championing low-intervention, organic methods. No added sugars, no fake flavouring, minimal sulfites and sustainable farming. Here are 3 UK options. Oxney. Organic Estate in East Sussex is the UK's largest organic vineyard. Certified organic since 2012, they avoid synthetic pesticides entirely, using composting, herbal cover crops and natural sprays. In the winery, natural yeast ferments, no added sugar, minimal sulfites. Their organic sparkling wines and Pinot Noir Rosé are crisp and clean with nothing added or taken away. Davenport Vineyards in Kent has farmed organically since 2000. They hand-tend vines, ferment with wild yeasts from grape skins, add no sugar or flavoring, and often don't fine or filter, meaning their wines are vegan-friendly. Sulfur is added only in small doses. Their Horsmonden Dry White is zippy and crisp with zero residual sugar, proving you don't need chemicals for attractive wine. Seddlescombe Organic Vineyard in East Sussex, England's first organic vineyard since 1979, goes beyond organic to biodynamic farming. They use herbal preparations, align vineyard work with lunar cycles, and foster self-sustaining ecosystems. Hand-picked grapes, no synthetic chemicals, wild yeast only, and sulfites at half-conventional levels or zero. Many wines are unfiltered and unfined. These producers might cost more. Expect £15 to £30 a bottle versus £5 for Barefoot. But you're paying for quality and purity, not chemicals. People often find they feel better the next day compared to drinking cheap processed wine. If you've learned one thing from this list, let it be this. Wine, like any food, can be highly processed. But armed with knowledge, you can choose a better glass. If you found this eye-opening, hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Drop a comment with your experiences. Have you noticed headaches from certain wines? What's your go-to bottle?